November 2009. People are burning their own money in the street. By tonight, everyone you know will have lost everything. You will not. It starts 14 years earlier, in a line. It's 1995. You're 11 years old and you're standing in a line that isn't moving. This is the distribution center. Every 2 weeks, your family collects its rice here. That's the arrangement in this country. You work where you're told, you live where you're told, and the state feeds you. Nobody needs money for food. There's nowhere to spend it. Today, the window doesn't open. Nobody explains. The line waits until dark and then it goes home. 2 weeks later, it doesn't open again. And here is the problem. There are no shops. Money buys nothing in this country because there is nothing on sale to buy it with. If you want food now, you have to find a person who has some and give them something they want more. Your mother takes off her wedding ring. She walks to the railway station where a few people have started meeting to swap whatever they own, and she trades it there for 8 kilos of rice. It lasts 3 weeks. Across the country, the food is not arriving anywhere. They will call these years the March of Suffering. Nobody knows the real number of dead. The lowest serious estimates start in the hundreds of thousands. And in every town, at the same time, the same thing starts happening. Women begin laying cloth on the ground and selling whatever they own. You watch your mother do it. You're 11 and you are watching the birth of an economy that is not allowed to exist. You're 14. You own a square of cloth, a spot on the pavement, and 9 packets of cigarettes your mother bought 2 towns over for less than they sell for here. That gap is the entire business. The people around you are called grasshoppers. It isn't an insult, it's a description. When a patrol turns the corner, the whole street picks up its cloth and hops. A doorway, a stairwell, behind a wall. 30 seconds later, everyone is selling again. Every person here is committing a crime, including the patrol who takes 2 packets and walks on. Now, count the men in this market. There aren't any. Men are legally required to be at their assigned state workplace, so they sit in freezing factories with no power, producing nothing, for a state salary of 3,000 won a month. That is about $3 US. Their wives feed the family. Today, you clear 400 won. Call it 40 US cents. That's corn. And next week, the patrolman who takes 2 packets stops in front of your cloth. And this time, he doesn't want cigarettes. He wants money. He has been taking 2 packets a week off your cloth since you were 14. Now his hand is open, and it stays open. You pay him. And once you pay a man like him, you pay him forever. 2003. The state gives up pretending and legalizes the markets. Overnight, your crime becomes a license, a numbered stall under a tin roof, a daily fee, and a landlord. The same government that spent 10 years chasing you off that pavement. There's a catch. You still officially work at a shoe factory you have never been to. So every month, you pay the factory to write you down as present. The factory has no electricity and makes no shoes. Your bribe is its only income. You are paying a business to let you not work there, and the arrangement suits everybody. You're 22. 3,000 won on a good day, $3, which is what the state pays a factory worker for a month. And your supplier has just told you where he actually gets the cigarettes. Hyesan, 3 in the morning. Below you is the Yalu, and it's frozen, and 80 meters away is China. Over there, an entire town is lit up. Behind you, the street is completely black because the power comes on for 2 hours a day, if it comes on. The guard on this stretch is 19 and hungry. His price is 50 Chinese yuan, about $7, and a bottle. He turns and looks at the hill. You cross in 4 minutes, most nights. The 3rd week of February, you are halfway out when a light swings along the ice. You lie flat, face down on a frozen river, 20 kilos on your back, and you do not move for 11 minutes. The light goes past. It's a new guard. Nobody has told him the arrangement yet. You crawl back the way you came. The following week, he costs you double. On the other side, you go up the bank on your hands and knees, wait for a car to pass, and walk into a town where the shops are full, the lights stay on, and nobody asks you anything. This side of the border is Korean too. It is a Korean county of China. The shopkeepers speak your language, and they have been copying South Korean television and selling it to people like you for years. You come back with rice cookers, batteries, cooking oil, plastic shoes, and, sewn into the lining of your coat, the thing that pays for all of it, micro SD cards. 40 hours of South Korean television on each one. Cigarettes get you a fine. Cooking oil gets you a bribe. Getting caught with one of these gets you sent somewhere your family will never be told about. A rice cooker earns $11. One card, copied and rented out for years, earns hundreds. Here is the part that matters. Nobody in this country trusts their own money anymore. The won buys less every month, so anything worth real value gets paid in Chinese yuan or American dollars instead. And that is the first night you are paid in dollars instead of won. You will never willingly hold your own currency again. Remember that. You now have 3 tons of Chinese goods sitting in a warehouse and one problem. You cannot move them. Every truck in this country belongs to the army, the mines, or the party. A private person owning a vehicle is not expensive. It is impossible. So you don't. You buy a truck in China, drive it back across the border, and hand it to a North Korean army unit as a present. They write it into their name, you keep the keys. Every month they take a cut of what it earns, and in return, your truck carries a military plate. And nobody in this country stops a military plate. In March, the colonel is transferred. The officer who replaces him has never met you, and he impounds the truck on a Tuesday and keeps it for 6 weeks. You pay for it twice. Once to the unit, once to a man who knows the unit, and you get it back with the cargo gone. You do not complain. There is nobody to complain to. You just understand from then on that you never bought protection. You rent it, and the rent changes whenever the man changes. The whole country runs like this now. Privately owned buses and lorries in state clothing. People call them servicha, service cars. Officially, they do not exist. You move other people's goods for a percentage. You're 24 years old and you have just built a logistics company inside a country that has outlawed companies. Payroll, 1 border guard, 1 market official, 1 neighborhood watch leader, and a colonel. $6,000 a month. And people have started asking you for something that isn't goods. One night, a woman knocks on your door. She wants to open a noodle stall. She needs $200, and there is not one bank in this country that will lend it to her. So she is standing in front of you, and she is not alone. A fishing crew needs to fix a boat. A party official needs a shortfall to disappear. Everyone who needs money goes to whoever is holding it. That's you now. You lend money at high interest, and people always pay you back because there is no court here and no bank. There is only you. Everybody knows what you are, including the police, who keep their own savings with you. Then one of them cannot pay. There is no court you can take him to, so you go to his house, and you take the house. His family is standing in the yard, watching you do it. You feel exactly as bad as you expect to feel. You do it anyway, because you know that if you don't, the next 20 borrowers will find out by the end of the month. He is on your street for years afterwards. He never looks at you again. There's a word for people like you, donju, master of money. You keep the stall and you keep the trucks, but from here on, the money itself is the business, and you keep every note of it in yuan and dollars, in 3 places, none of them a bank. You're 25, you're worth about $40,000, and you are 11 days away from the morning that destroys almost everyone you know. 30th of November, 2009, a Monday. The announcement is short. The currency is being replaced. 100 old yuan becomes 1 new yuan. You have 1 week to exchange, and there is a limit on how much you are allowed to swap. Everything above that limit is now paper. This is not a mistake. It is aimed at you. For 15 years, the government has watched people like you get rich. This is how it takes it all back in one morning. By lunchtime, the markets are closed. By evening, people are burning money in the street because being caught holding too much of it is now the crime. Your neighbor spent 20 years building a wholesale business. He loses all of it between breakfast and dinner. That week, there are reports of people who take their own lives. You lose about $400 because everything else you own is in yuan, in dollars, and in a truck registered to the army. Within months, the markets reopen. They have to. Without them, the country starves again. And the official who signed the order is reported to have been put in front of a firing squad. The state has just proved it can take everything. So you make sure that on paper, you own nothing at all. You are rich again, and every part of it is illegal. No license, no company, no name on any document, which means any inspector on any morning can take everything you own, and there is no court to complain to. Then you hear about Mr. Pak. Pak is the director of a state fishery with no boats. The famine took them. He has not been paid in 8 months. Every morning, he unlocks an empty office and waits for nothing. But in his desk lies the one thing you cannot buy in any market, a government stamp. You take him to dinner and you make him one offer. Write my trucks, my stall, and my loans into your fisheries books, and I will pay you more in a month than the state has paid you in 5 years. He says yes before the food arrives. On paper, you are now a state fishing company. An inspector stops your truck, certificate, red seal. He waves you through. It works every time. Until the day it doesn't. A new inspector, transferred in from another province. He reads your certificate, puts it in his pocket, and says, I will check this. If that paper reaches Pyongyang, everything is gone by Friday. The trucks, the stall, you. You do not sleep. Then, his price reaches you, whispered through the market women. Not money, a refrigerator, for his wife. You buy the best refrigerator in the province, and you deliver it yourself. The certificate comes back, and so does he, every 3 months for the next 6 years. You never argue with the price. You are an illegal capitalist now, protected by a certificate that says capitalism does not exist. And you are not the exception. Almost everything sold in this country hides inside an empty state company, exactly like yours. Your payroll is up to 19 people, paid to not arrest you, including the patrolman from when you were 14. His price has gone up 11 times, $80,000 a year in bribes, and it is about to be worth it. Because a man from Pyongyang wants to talk to you about a building.
Pyongyang wants skyscrapers. Pyongyang has no money,
So it builds them with yours. You pay for everything. When the tower is finished, they pay you back in flats. You're 36 and you own 11 of them, in a country where owning one is illegal. You give your mother one, with a lift, and heating that works. And in a market in your old town, you buy a wedding ring off a stall for $200. It isn't hers. The one that fed you for 3 weeks in 1995 is gone. She wears it anyway. You're 40 years old. You are one of the richest people in this country, and there is no word for what you are because officially, you're a mid-level employee at a state fishing company earning 3,000 won a month. $3. You lend money to the state itself. When the government runs out of money for a project, it comes to men like you and calls it a patriotic donation. You always donate. You are always extremely patriotic. And look at what you have now. A Chinese phone, a foreign car, coffee that costs a factory worker a month's wages, a daughter at a foreign language school, payroll, 31 people, and a general. 4 in the morning, somebody knocks on your door. Not the police. 2 men from the provincial committee, in overcoats, extremely polite. For about 11 seconds, you are certain this is the end of it. Then they ask you for a donation, a construction project. You give them more than they asked for, and you do not sleep again that night. And this is the rank where the danger stops being the police. The only people who can destroy you now are the ones above you, and for them, there is no payroll. Everything you own sits in other people's names, under a state seal, protected by nothing except how useful you are. You didn't climb out of the system. You climbed all the way into it. From space at night, your country is a dark shape between 2 glowing ones, almost no light at all. But there are a few, small ones, scattered, where the markets are. Every one of them was paid for by somebody the state calls a criminal. One of them is yours. This was your life as a North Korean millionaire.